Outlander is a popular television series, known for its deep and realistic love scenes between the two main characters Jamie Fraser and Claire Randall, played by Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe. The sex scenes in the show are not only entertaining but also play an important role in developing the plot and showing the complex relationships between the characters. Not as easy as the audience thinks. With his masculine, charming appearance and classic gentlemanly demeanor, Sam Heughan has been considered the new love symbol of the small screen since playing Jamie Fraser in Outlander. However, behind that sexy appearance are countless psychological challenges, especially with love scenes, or more precisely, sex scenes. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Heughan once revealed, "Audiences often think that filming sex scenes is fun, but in reality it is terribly technical and tiring. The intimate scenes in Outlander require not only physical nakedness, but also emotional nakedness. That means the actors have to remove all personal barriers, overcome shyness to bring the most authentic scene. Clapperboard good coordination with co-star Caitriona Balfe." Heughan does not hesitate to admit that comfort and absolute trust with co-star Caitriona Balfe is the golden key to help him perform intimate scenes well. "We are like two double dancers. Every scene is like a symphony, every rhythm, every look, every breath needs to be absolutely in sync." The close relationship in real life between Sam and Caitriona also contributes greatly to creating emotional, sensual but not vulgar love scenes. They are not simply acting out sex, but are conveying a deep relationship, historical depth and soul connection. Rushed face, sex, or psychological torture. Heughan specifically mentioned the scene where Jamie is sexually assaulted at the end of season 1, considered one of the most intense and haunting scenes of the series. "I was really traumatized after filming that scene. It was no longer a sex scene, but an intense emotional experience. We shot it over and over again for hours, in a nearly enclosed space. I had to learn how to feel safe, even when I was at my most vulnerable." For Heughan, the scene was a slap in the face to the idealized romanticism that people often associate with sex scenes. It showed the danger, power and mental damage that can occur when sex is abused. Handshake behind the scenes professionalism. In later seasons, Outlander introduced an intimacy coordinator, a new position that helps navigate intimate scenes in a way that is both safe and authentic. Sam said he fully supports this. "It makes me feel protected, guided. And that's incredibly important for actors to be physically and emotionally exposed." Heughan asserts that having someone to shape movements, calculate lighting, and make sure no one gets hurt is something that should have been in the film industry for a long time. Red Heart, sex with meaning, Outlander's philosophy. What makes Outlander's intimate scenes different is that they always have a reason to exist in the story. For Sam Heughan, that's what makes the biggest difference. "I have never seen a sex scene in a film that is meaningless. For Jamie and Claire, sex is how they communicate, overcome pain, express love. It is a sacred act." Heughan emphasized that he would never agree to do a sex scene just to attract views, if it did not serve the content or the character's emotions. Sacrifice to tell a true story. For Sam Heughan, the sex scenes in Outlander are part of a journey of storytelling with all of his soul. He and his co-stars do not simply get naked in front of the camera, but also open up their inner doors so that the audience can live with the character's emotions. They do not act out sex, but love, vulnerability, trust, pain, and liberation, all wrapped up in a light touch, a deep look, or a quiet moment in bed. If you've ever watched Outlander, you'll understand that the relationship between Jamie Fraser and Claire Randall is more than just love. It's destiny, a connection that transcends time and reason. And that magic comes from the wonderful acting of Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe, two strangers who met, then together created one of the most iconic couples on modern television. Sam Heughan once shared wittily and deeply, "I don't think I could be as comfortable with anyone else as I am with Kat. We're like two ballet dancers, knowing when to pull back, when to squeeze, and when to breathe together." Caitriona is more than just a co-star. For Sam, Shush is a spiritual partner, someone who explores every layer of Jamie and Claire's emotions, even in their most naked moments of body and soul. Clapperboard acting with trust. In dozens of elaborately staged sex scenes in Outlander, what makes viewers believe is not the flesh, but the trust between the two actors. That trust helps them not only coordinate well technically, but also touch each other's hearts, so that each love scene has a real flavor. Many viewers even thought they were a real couple in real life. Sam once said, "When you film a sex scene where you know the person next to you always respects you, listens to you, and is ready to stop if you feel uncomfortable, you will act with all your heart." With Caitriona, professionalism, sophistication and artistry help her become a beacon, guiding her co-stars in awkward moments. She never tries to be sexy, but it is her eyes, gestures and sincerity that make every scene seductive in a civilized and cinematic way. Black Heart from Shy to In Sync. Sam Heughan confessed that in the early days of filming intimate scenes with Caitriona, both of them were awkward like students in love. But instead of avoiding it, they chose to face it, talk, rehearse carefully, set limits, and laugh out loud when they made mistakes. We often laugh after each cut, and that makes everything a lot lighter. Time and attachment have turned them into a perfect pair. Without having to speak, they understand each other through their eyes. Without having to act too much, just a touch is enough to melt the audience. Movie camera. The result. Classic love scenes. Do you remember Jamie and Claire's first night scene in Part 1? Or the reunion after 20 years apart in Part 3? Those moments have gone down in television history, not just because they were hot, but because they were so real that viewers forgot they were acting. That perfect coordination couldn't be forced or staged. It was the result of friendship, respect, and a faithful acting relationship. Clapperboard conclusion. For Sam and Caitriona, love scenes weren't something to get through, they were an important chapter in the love story they were telling. And that's why Outlander viewers loved them, not just because they were a beautiful couple, but because they were real, so real that viewers' hearts beat with them on every frame. Caitriona Balfe's thoughts on sex scenes in Outlander. When women talk about sex, it's a story of power, emotion, and liberation. Caitriona Balfe. In the world of modern television, it's rare for an actress to show her nakedness, not just physically but also emotionally, as authentically as Caitriona Balfe in Outlander. The role of Claire Fraser, a woman who travels through time to live a life of intense love, requires her to give herself completely in every scene, especially the artistic sex scenes. But for Caitriona, it's not just acting. It's a feminist statement on the small screen. Rose sex is not for sex, it's for storytelling. From its first season, Outlander has been praised as a series that dares to be different when it comes to showing sex from a female perspective. And Caitriona is the one who leads that language through every look, breath, and body movement. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, she shared, "Every sex scene between Jamie and Claire is a chapter of a love story. No two scenes are the same. They reflect emotions. Sometimes it's connection, sometimes it's hurt, sometimes it's healing." She emphasized that the sex scenes were never made just to attract views, but to help the audience understand more deeply the soul of the character Claire, a woman who dares to love, dares to live, and dares to demand the right to satisfy her own emotions. Clapperboard difficulty and mastery. No one said filming sex scenes was easy. And for Caitriona Balfe, it was a journey of learning, sometimes painful, but also liberating. You're standing in front of the camera, almost naked, with 20 people in the room. Every look, every click of the camera makes you aware of your own body. And then you have to turn that awkwardness into the real emotion of the character. Caitriona is candid about the psychological pressure, but she also talks about control. She was never forced to do anything she wasn't comfortable with. Thanks to her completely trusting relationship with co-star Sam Heughan, and the respectful production team, she felt protected and in control of her role. handshake professionalism, and in sync with Sam Heughan. One of the factors that helped Caitriona perform intimate scenes so naturally and deeply was her connection with Sam Heughan, her co-star and closest friend during her many years on Outlander. "We trust each other completely. That creates a safe space for both of us to excel in our acting." She said that before each sensitive scene, the two would sit down with the director, discuss every move, every meaning, every moment, making sure that the scene was not only sexy but also reflected the emotions, context and inner self of the character. Fire not sex, but the art of storytelling with the body. The sex scenes in Outlander are captivating, not because they are ostentatious, but because they are full of emotion. Caitriona turns every touch, look, sigh, into a wordless language. "I always thought sex was a natural part of life. The question is, how do you tell it? With Outlander, we tell it with our hearts." Bullseye, the change of the entire film industry. Caitriona is one of the first actresses to boldly speak up for the rights and protection of female actors in sensitive scenes. She advocates intimacy coordinators, something that has become standard practice on many Hollywood sets. Women should own their bodies, whether in real life or on screen. Speech balloon conclusion, when the female lead owns her own sexual story. For Caitriona Balfe, the sex scenes in Outlander are not simply hot scenes, they are captivating moments of feminism. She doesn't just play a role, she lives with Claire Fraser, loves like Claire, suffers and is reborn like Claire. And it is through that courage, sophistication and humanity that Caitriona elevates Outlander far beyond the usual romantic genre, turning it into a symbol of liberation, art and true love on screen.